Home and Away UK spoilers. What's happening in Summer Bay in 2025? We take a look at what's in store when Home and Away returns to UK screens in early 2025. Do Leah and Justin break up? Has Perry really killed his father? And which new couple are set for romance? Home and Away returns to UK screens on Monday the 6th of January 2025. And we pick up from the events of a dramatic season finale, which saw Justin stuck at a remote house with Claudia, and Tane discovering that Perry had killed his father Carl. With UK viewers roughly 2 months behind their Australian counterparts, we know what's coming up on Channel 5 over January, February and even early March. Here are the key highlights from early next year. Perry goes into hiding. When we return to Tane and Perry's Saxon Avenue house, Tane has had no option but to call the police to report Carl's death. And Rose and her colleague are soon on the scene. Tane explains that Perry was only acting in self-defense against a father with a history of abuse. But when he goes to get Perry from his room, the teen has disappeared, which only serves to make him look guilty. Rose suspects that Tane is hiding Perry, but Tane is quick to point out that he was the one who called the cops in the first place. Perry soon runs into Theo, who suffered a similarly abusive childhood so knows the pain Perry has been through, and Theo agrees to hide him at Summer Bay Auto. It's not long before a manhunt is launched, and Perry's face is plastered all over the news. Realizing that Perry hiding away is only making the situation worse, Theo brings Tane to the garage, where Tane manages to convince Perry to hand himself in. Will Perry face charges for his father's death? Leah fears the worst of Justin. With Justin stuck at the remote woodland cabin after Claudia threw his keys a matter of meters into the ether, he's forced to spend a night sleeping in his car, after refusing to go back inside with his semi-captor. Back in Summer Bay, Leah fears the worst after her conversation with Claudia's husband, who believes Claudia and Justin are having an affair. That night, she has a nightmare vision of the pair giving in to temptation in his ute. In reality, Justin wants nothing more to do with Claudia. The following morning, he decides to head home on foot. And when he finally gets some signal, he calls Leah straight away. He tells her that he'll explain everything once he gets home. But Leah tells him not to bother. She won't be there, and hangs up. By the time he gets back to the bay, he finds his house deserted, and Leah's belongings gone. Leah has headed to Summer Bay House, where she announces to Alf and Marilyn that she's left Justin. Justin is forced to call on Claudia to convince Leah that nothing happened between them. However, while Leah finally comes to her senses, Justin is less willing to forgive, angry that Leah would so easily think he'd be unfaithful. Will the pair's relationship survive? Perry goes on trial, despite Perry claiming that his dad must have hit his head in their struggle. The autopsy report reveals that there was water in Carl's lungs, implying that he had drowned and making it appear that Perry himself was responsible. Perry is charged with murder, despite Rose knowing that Carl's abusive past meant it was likely he was acting in self-defense. And the teen spends weeks preparing for his trial. When Perry took his dad to court earlier in the year, after pressing charges for years of abuse, the judge found his dad not guilty. So, heading into this new trial, he has no confidence that anyone is going to believe him this time around. On the eve of the trial, Tane is forced to talk Perry out of running away, as he tries to reassure him that everything will be okay. In the courtroom, things aren't looking good, as the prosecutor makes Tane confirm that he never saw Carl lay a hand on his son. The prosecution lawyer also tries to argue that Tane's decision to teach him martial arts was actually arming him with the skills he needed to end his father's life. Tell me, Mr. Parada, is it possible that you taught Perry Hayes just a little too well? He asks. In a break in proceedings, Perry's lawyer Jane gets an urgent text and rushes off. When proceedings resume, she calls in a surprise witness, Perry's mum, Kaya. Perry spent years believing his mum to be dead. But, as Kaya takes the stand, she verifies Perry's story of the years of abuse Carl subjected him to. The magistrate, played by former EastEnders actress Hannah Waterman, finds Perry not guilty. But any happiness he would have felt is replaced by anger. Why did his mum let him believe she was dead for so many years? Kaya explains that she had no choice. Carl threatened to kill Perry if she didn't leave. She'd assumed that her son was living a happy life, and had even briefly returned to watch one of his football games. So had believed that she'd made the right decision. Perry pushes his mum away, and it takes some time for him to forgive her, but he eventually decides to leave with her to New Zealand, leading to an emotional goodbye for Perry and Tane. Harper and Tane grow closer. After Perry's departure, Tane can finally focus his attention on Harper. He was struggling to juggle the pair's needs, as Harper looked to him for support with her pregnancy, while Perry needed Tane's reassurance as he prepared for his court case. Without Perry around to distract him, Tane conveniently decides that he now has feelings for Harper after all. And the two begin dating. Yet with Tane having always dreamt of having a baby, it's only a matter of weeks before Harper realizes that their unborn child is all they ever talk about is Tane only with her because of the pregnancy. Dana tells Harper to set Tane the challenge of going 24 hours without talking about the baby. And after a few false starts, they finally begin to get to know one another properly. However, some life-changing baby news is just around the corner. Bree betrays Levi. The final week of UK episodes saw Alf suffer a heart scare after collapsing outside the surf club. Bree, who has been struggling after not being able to save Felicity earlier in the year, froze when it came to administering the life-saving drugs, and it was on Levi to step in and save Alf's life. After Marilyn made it clear that Bree was at fault, Levi confronted his colleague and told her that her hesitation could have cost Alf his life. And as a result he'd have to report her. When her disciplinary hearing arrives, Bree turns the tables, claiming that it's Levi who has issues with control and that he swept in and took over Alf's case. Before spreading rumors that she's negligent, she describes him as an egotist who muscles in on everything and everyone. Also referencing the time that Levi interfered when she was treating Remy after his accident. Levi then finds himself suspended, while Bree decides to ask for some time off work before the board have a chance to discipline her further. Will she see sense before she ruins Levi's career? Leah and Justin are caught out. After Justin and Leah forgive each other for Justin's lies about Claudia and Leah's belief that he was cheating about her, they decide to embark on a getaway together to rekindle their romance. However, things get a bit too steamy as they head to the hotel pool to find it deserted. Caught up in the moment, they decide to go for a bit of skinny dipping, oblivious to the security camera pointed in their direction, as an announcement rings out on the tannoy reminding guests that skinny dipping is not allowed. The pair realize that they've been caught in the act. How will they talk their way out of this one? Eden gets to know Abby's counselor. Levi finally manages to convince Abigail to begin seeing a counselor, to help her get to the bottom of why she turned to drugs in the first place. Things get off to an awkward start, but friendly counselor Tim Russell finally makes some progress with Abby, and she agrees to go back for another session. Yet while Tim may be making a good impression on Abby, he's making an even better impression on her sister Eden. When Tim turns up at the Lyric House shortly after Eden has said an emotional goodbye to Cash, they end up sharing a kiss. Expect major fireworks when Abigail finds out that her sister, who she has always believed abandoned her during their teenage years, is now in a secret relationship with her counselor.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của Home and Away. Spoiler today. Xin chào.